Decaf coffee drinkers are probably some of the only people in the world that are really drinking coffee only for the flavor. Welcome back to the Equal Parts Coffee podcast. We are super excited to be doing episode 2. Want to just start by saying thank you to everybody who has supported us and been really excited with the first episode. We're really excited to see where this goes and to continue doing more and more with it. So
glad you guys are here. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for watching. It's been fun to watch the stats change, even though it's not that many people. It's fun to watch that change. Somebody from Peru, I don't know who you are. Thanks for watching. Unless you lied to your Spotify and you're
could be using a VPN.
Yeah,
or
using a
right?
VPN, or you're from Peru. That'd be cool.
2 Canadians, 1 Peruvian, everyone else is American. That's what Spotify
United
says.
States people.
But, right.
Yeah, just regular old. Coffee today. Oh, don't pour for yourself first. That's crazy.
That's a little rude.
Yeah, it would have been rude. This is the Kenya Ruru.
Ruru, yeah.
Dang it. I always say it wrong.
I've tried my best to figure out the pronunciations of coffees, and this one was very difficult. I was trying to search up, however different roasters pronounce it, and a lot of the times you don't know how to verify that. They could just be guessing for all I know. But this one, I actually found a YouTube video of some guy who was riding his motorcycle around Kenya, and it was he talked about the city of Ruru, so I heard him say it, so I was able to then take that and figure out how to write it out phonetically. So on the website, it'll show how it's pronounced. So Kenya Ruru is how I've learned how to pronounce it. So
anyway, this is a Mundo's coffee. Super good. It's very it's a very bright but juicy, washed Kenyan coffee. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit of spice to it. But I feel it's mostly very sweet orangey. Not very. There's not harsh acidity to it. It's just very full, sweet. It's a good one.
I think of stewed peaches a little bit. You cook them down a little bit, a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of spice. Very nice.
Yeah. So trying to record it this week was hard for some reason. There's so much going on.
I mean, busy week
coming up to Christmas. It's releasing on the 23rd of December, so Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry
Many
Christmas.
of you are probably watching this after Christmas.
Merry Christmas Eve if you're watching when we release.
Yes. The last episode, people said that we were dressed very Christmassy. That wasn't on purpose. That's just kind of what we were wearing, kind of green and red.
So we toned it down.
So we really toned it down for the Christmas
I went
episode.
desaturated for the shirt here.
Yeah, I didn't actually. I wore
that still looks Christmas.
It's just a green sweatshirt.
Sure.
So the main thing that we are going to be talking about today is we recently were able to participate in the Decaf Project, which was basically a huge global coffee cupping of a number of differently decaffeinated coffees. So that's super exciting. We're really excited to talk about that. First, I figured we play a little game. Okay, right. We're gonna have Jack here blind rank some coffees. Okay, we're talking. It's pretty broad, just coffee drinks. Okay, I've got a list here, 10 of them. He's got to blind rank them. And so close your eyes.
Oh, gosh, okay.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to close your eyes. You can't see. That's funny. Anyway, okay, so number 1 is just classic Mr. Coffee, coffee pot, home brewer.
Mr. Coffee or just any
No, you're brewing it in a Mr. Coffee, just a classic.
Shoot, okay.
It doesn't matter, you can put good coffee in it.
I got to think about this because
it's out of 10.
Out of 10, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best?
Yeah.
Okay. That's tricky because, I don't know, what if you say something even worse than a Mr. Coffee? I mean,
I feel it can definitely get worse than that.
Yeah, you can make good coffee in a Mr. Coffee. As long as you're able to control all the other variables. I'm going to put that at an 8.
8?
Yeah. I mean, because I haven't used a Mr. Coffee in a while, but from what I know, it's just got this one stream in the middle, just pouring straight down.
Some uneven extraction.
Not very even extraction. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay, number 2, cold brew.
Cold brew. Okay.
Classic cold brew coffee.
So people hate me for this. I don't like cold brew all that much. It's great. It's a brew method. It brings out different flavors in coffees. I just don't like cold coffee very much. I just prefer hot coffee. Even like 90 degrees outside, give me some hot coffee.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Sure.
But I can appreciate cold brew.
Yeah.
And I do like it from time to time.
Especially nitro.
Nitro cold brew.
I like it a little bit more when it's
very
nitro.
creamy. Yeah,
It's
I like that.
Specialty drink.
I like that. I would say cold brew is probably. There's so many good coffee drinks out there, so this is really hard for me. I want to say 5.
5.
Yeah.
All right. AeroPress.
I got to think back to what I ranked it last episode. Didn't I rank that number 3, I believe?
That was in your top 5.
My top 5 drinks.
Like,
so like, what if you say my other 5 that I talked about? And then what if you don't? What if AeroPress is the only good one?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 3 as well for that one.
3. All right. Keep
I feel good about that.
Okay. We're talking like Japanese flash brew.
Japanese flash brew. Okay, I like that better than cold brew. A little more acidity. I'm an acid guy. I love acidic things.
He's an acid guy.
I love tomatoes. I love vinegar, salt and vinegar chips. You know me. You know me and my family. We can't get enough of those.
Just smashing salt and vinegar chips. I'm tapped out after 2. I'll eat 2 salt and vinegar chips, and it's like, all right, that's enough.
I love them to a fault. I'll eat so many that I start to lose taste in my tongue, and that's dangerous because that's part of my job. I taste coffee for a living. So
don't eat them in the morning, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. That's like 5 o'clock. Break out the salt and vinegar chips. Glass of whiskey. You're good to go.
I'm done tasting for today. Yeah. All right, where are you putting flash brew?
Okay, I put flash brew. I put cold brew at
5.
No, cold brew. Yes,
8,
at 5. You're right.
Yep, 5. I wrote it down, so I remember.
4.
4. All right.
Yeah.
Flash brew's 4. Slightly above cold brew.
Yeah.
All right. French press.
Okay. Confession: I've never had a French press before in my life. No idea.
Dang,
I always talk bad about it, but I've never actually had it before.
Oh.
I don't know what it tastes like.
Dang.
I can imagine. I know it's full immersion,
okay.
so I've heard it's compared to an AeroPress. But
if you like finesse one and use a paper filter in it, you can get a pretty similar cup to an AeroPress. But generally, I'd say it's like an AeroPress, except a little bit more over extracted. You're gonna get a lot of fines in there. It's very thick textured because like it's just a wire filter. So imagine like an AeroPress, but if like you maybe like left a teaspoon of grounds in there.
I don't want to hate on the people who love French press because
I think it can be good.
But what is worse than French press?
Quite a few things.
I can't think of some, so I cannot. I don't.
All right, it's
you
blind.
must have something in store. This one's
truly blind.
That's worse. So I'm gonna rank it a 7.
7. Okay.
Just above. What was my 8? I
Mr.
can't remember now. Mr. Coffee.
Mr. Coffee.
Okay.
Okay. We're talking Speedway gas station coffee. Go to a gas station. You're pressing on that pump pot, and you're getting some like 100% Arabica Brazil coffee. It's been sitting there for 6 hours.
Yeah. Or hopefully, maybe not. Maybe it's from yesterday.
I went to heat that crap back up.
I went to a gas station one time and.
One time. That's impressive.
The coffee. The coffee wasn't for me. It was for my my in-laws, and they just wanted some coffee. I'm not the type of guy who will drink gas station coffee, and I feel like I'm spoiled saying this, but
just rather not have it. Yeah.
But I did taste it. It was just so sad to see. You know, when you pour a cup of coffee, it's a nice brown color. If it's a lighter roast, a lot of times you'll have a bit of red in there. It's really nice.
I don't know if it's kind of red. I don't know if you can see that from all the way back there. Jack, get a zoom in later in post. Okay, thank you.
I see. Yeah, our producer, Jack, standing behind the camera.
Sorry, what were you saying about the color?
So coffee's very red, very nice. This coffee was gray coming out. There was no color to it. It was very sad. And it was very horrible. So I'm gonna have to rank that a 10. I don't know what's worse than
10, all right. Watch your mic cable there, you're messing with it with your leg. All right. Okay. Instant coffee. Taking a teaspoon of that stuff, mixing in some hot water.
Okay.
Dissolve, drinking it up.
So I've only had instant coffee one time.
Perfect.
And it was actually Mondo's coffee because we had a sample. Somebody reached out. They wanted to do instant coffee. We didn't end up doing it at the time. We weren't in the right place. But It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
For what it was.
Yeah.
And I know that there's amazing instant coffee out there.
There's a lot of specialty shops that do it. Which
it's just all about how you do it. I think the technology has advanced a lot more in recent years.
Sure.
I would say I've only tasted it once, so I can't rank it super well, but I can't rank above cold brew, so maybe 6.
6?
Yeah.
All right.
What do I have left? I've got number 1, 2.
You've got 1, 2,
9?
9. 1, 2, and 9. All right. Cowboy coffee.
The heck is that?
We're talking, you got a tin cup with some hot water, and you got a sock full of coffee grounds.
Mm.
You know, like, that's what you got.
Yeah.
You know, you're out on the plains.
As one is.
You know, you steep that. It's full immersion. Full immersion. The clean sock is preferable, but not,
Blood,
it's optional.
sweat, and tears. Yeah.
What?
Sweat, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So.
I mean, it gave me 1 or 2, so it's got to be 9.
Okay,
It's gotta be
9,
for
9,
sure.
9, 9.
That's an easy one for me.
All right. That feels like a proper choice, but. Okay, we're talking washed Kenyan pour over.
Right here?
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. I didn't even plan that. I mean that, I promise. I didn't plan that.
Oh, man. Because what if you have something, what if you like, what the other drinks are cortado? Because that's my favorite drink. And I'm going to rank that at number 2.
Yeah, but you do really like washed Kenyan pour
I
overs.
do. Okay, I'm going to rank it number 1.
Okay, number 1 for washed Kenyan pour over.
Yeah.
You lucky dog. All right. So now your number 2, Jack's second favorite coffee drink, talking Keurig pods. Number 2, you're getting those K-cups.
I love me a K-cup for sure.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, you don't even need the water. You just crack that sucker open.
Just for some like
throw it in your
instant caffeine.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not upset with that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go over that. We got washed Kenya pour over
All right.
number 1. It's a great number 1. You got lucky. I was really hoping you'd put something else in there. Number 2,
Cowboy
Keurig.
coffee.
Got number 3, AeroPress. Number 4, Flash Brew. Number 5, Cold Brew. 6 is instant. 7 is French press. 8 is Mr. Coffee. 9 is Cowboy Coffee, and 10 is gas station coffee. That's not a bad blind
I feel like
ranking.
I wouldn't move very many of those.
No, I feel like
That's
the only
pretty
thing
good.
that's like definitely out of place is maybe like the K cup. Like that would definitely be low on your list. I feel like Mr. Coffee.
I like Flash
could
Brew.
Maybe get up
I
there
like
a little
Flash
higher.
Brew Cold Brew more than K-cups, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, probably. But you know, that was
Coffee.
impressive actually. Surprised. I thought that was going to be a lot worse than it was.
Well, save
All right.
myself from embarrassment this time.
You won't be able to do it forever.
No.
All right. So let's talk about the Decaf Project.
Yeah.
So some of you might know who James Hoffman is. He was a former World Barista Champion. He was the founder of Square Mile Coffee in London. And
Some sweet white hair. Just
Yeah, circle glasses, white hair. Yeah, so he's like a very big in like the coffee content creation side of things now. And just because of like the influence he has in like his Patreon supporters, he's able to have enough money to actually buy a very large portion of a single crop of coffee from Colombia. Oh, pardon me. Coffee burps.
that wash can you get into you?
Yeah. He was able to get a bunch of coffee from Colombia of a single crop in like a ton of it. He took, 3/4 of that, and he sent a fourth of that to different decaffeination facilities around the world. So Swiss water process facility in Canada, a CO2 process in Germany, I believe, and an ethyl acetate process facility somewhere. I don't remember where that one was. Do you remember?
Nope.
All right, cool.
If you do want to watch the videos on that,
Yes.
very, very entertaining on his YouTube channel.
Yep.
I'm sure we can tag it somehow.
Yep, they're all on his YouTube channel, as well as the cupping he did for that, which, the coffees probably aren't really around. You might be able to still find them from a couple of roasters, but that's pretty cool. You should check it out. So anyway, I saw this and I immediately bought some coffee. We bought ours from Methodical Coffee, and they did a great job. It's a huge project. So he distributed these coffees to all of these roasters around the world for them to sell and do it, because obviously they didn't have the capacity to do it themselves.
Yeah. Well, that's also cool. They can do it their own way. You know, put their own spin on it.
Yeah. Something like this is super rare. just to be able to have 4 coffees side by side, all the same exact crop of coffee.
Yeah.
You've got 1 non-decaf, 1 ethyl acetate, 1 Swiss water, and 1 CO2. That's like never really been done like outside of people in a lab having access to do that.
Well, it's cool because I feel like for a long time, decaf was kind of leftover coffee a little bit. It's kind of like, you got to have decaf, but it doesn't have to be the high quality, because a lot of decafs will take out a lot of flavor in the coffee, which we'll get into with these different processes. But it's really cool to see the focus that's shifted into more of like, obviously coffee is great because of the caffeine, but coffee is great because of the flavor. And a lot of people don't handle caffeine very well, and that I understand. Like drinking too many cups of coffee, it's just not a great feeling. So it's amazing to have a lot more focus on decaf. And because I mean, I love drinking coffee in the evening. It'd be amazing to have a great, and there already are great options out there, but it's great to see the focus that's been on it lately of the high quality coffees that are being processed decaf, that are just amazing, and a lot more time and money being put into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, decaf coffee drinkers are probably some of the only people in the world that are really drinking coffee only for the flavor. And so often they're kind of getting the lower quality coffees that are being decaffeinated because you do lose some flavor in the decaffeination process. But somewhat, recently there's been a little bit of a push, like you said, to make decaf higher quality, to use better processes, to use different compounds to extract it that are safe and effective at removing the decaf in as little of the flavor as possible. So it was really cool to try those side by side and to get an exact idea of what is this process doing to this coffee. Like what is different about this coffee now that this process happened, this happened, this one. So what we did was they had a global live cupping. We tried it before that. We just in the lab at Mundo's did a full blind cupping. So I marked the bottom of the bowls, we mixed them up, ground them, and cupped them, having no idea which one was which. I did see the coffees beforehand, so I had some assumptions as to what they were based on some
the coffee
coloring.
beans?
Yes, because I set it up, but it actually did not help me at all. So
I get that. You've got these things in your head from just what it looks like, whereas you should be just listening to the flavor. But
first impressions of the coffee, I was looking at them and they were very different colors. The processes really did different things to them. The one that stood out the most was the ethyl acetate process. Ethyl acetate is a process where they use the chemical ethyl acetate, which is a byproduct of making rum, fermenting sugarcane. So they use the ethyl acetate. It's pretty selective, so it really just kind of grabs onto those caffeine molecules and doesn't grab a lot of the flavor. And they just kind of, they steam it, they soak it in that, it goes through several rounds of that before it's dried and all of that kind of stuff. But these beans were glossy, and they were very very dark colored.
I've noticed decafs tend to be a bit darker too. Even before roasting, the beans are very dark, and then as they're roasting, the colors change a bit faster than they would on typical caffeinated coffees. And then after roast, a lot of times you're like, oh shoot, did I just do a dark roast on accident? But no, you're dropping it to the same 405 degrees, even less than that. And they're just very dark looking.
And that one stood out the most. It looked very, I don't know, just glossy, greasy almost, and dark. So I had some assumptions about the ethyl acetate one going into it. Tasting it blind, we didn't know what they were. So we were tasting them. It was way harder than I thought it was going to be. Not just to tell the difference between the processes, but to even tell which one was non-decaf.
Oh yeah.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, because it was the 3 decaf processes, and then there was a caffeinated version of the same lot in that blind cupping. So 4 coffees, and tasting them side by side, it was like you tasted them pretty quick, 4 of them, and you're like, these are insane how that I can't tell immediately which one has caffeine in it. Like you make some assumptions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was really hard.
It was like you're listening to one song, but like you just like mess with the EQ on it, you know, like like really, because they all were like the same thing.
That's a really good
but just
analogy.
like different like slightly different balances.
Yeah.
Just thought of it, top of my dome.
Boom, smart guy.
Thanks. Yeah, so I was tasting and I was writing down just kind of the things that I thought were different between them, and then I made my guesses. And Jack made our guesses
we all
too.
made our guesses silently. Didn't talk.
Yeah, and then
first.
and then we checked what they were. I was able to identify which one wasn't the decaf.
I wasn't as lucky.
No, Jack was not as lucky.
It's embarrassing. I've been coffee roasting, tasting coffee for what, 8-9 years now.
But that's exactly that's kind of what I wanted out of this.
I mean, that just goes to show how good these decafs were.
Yeah, it was tough. And yeah, when I had my guesses as to which process is which, I was wrong on all three of the decaf. I had them totally mixed up. But my favorite, it was kind of mixed for me. Everybody's like unanimous favorite was the ethyl acetate.
For sure. That's the one that I guessed had caffeine in it.
Yes.
I was wrong.
It was the highest acidity.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like it took the least away from the coffee.
Yeah.
It
Well,
really,
I feel like when decafs, that's one of the first things to go, I feel like, is acidity.
Yep.
You get a very mellow coffee, and for certain coffees, that works very well. We've had a Brazil for a long time. It was amazing coffee, but very run-of-the-mill, very basic, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Still really good, but just lacking that acidity.
Yeah. I really liked the CO2 process. I felt like it was very well balanced. It didn't have as much acidity, but I felt like it was a little bit sweeter. It was very round. I would definitely drink a CO2 process decaf as well.
Yeah.
And the one, which I think surprised all of us, that we thought the process had the most impact on the taste of the coffee was definitely the Swiss water method.
Yeah.
Which that's the one that we would have expected to probably like the best. The one that we have always liked because that process doesn't use any chemicals outside of coffee itself.
Yeah.
So when they're making that, they basically take a green coffee and they extract from it. And they make this green coffee extract that is like everything that's in coffee in this liquid form.
Yeah.
They take the decaf out of that extract, and then they use that to send other green coffee through it, and it grabs the caffeine from it.
It's very science. That's kind of where my knowledge kind of taps out right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how it works, but I think it's a little bit of magic for sure.
Yeah, a little bit of witchcraft, but mostly just like they bond together. It pulls out the decaf, and you're left with this coffee that is mostly empty of caffeine. We've always liked that because it's very clean. It only uses coffee and water, right? Like obviously that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I think that's why that's gained a lot of popularity because before processes like Swiss water was popular, at least I don't know when they started processing, but they were using sometimes harmful chemicals to make them decaf. Which
one of the first decaffeination methods they used benzene to actually decaffeinate coffee, and it was really toxic.
Yeah, well,
but
you
none
got
of
caffeine,
those.
but you'll die another way.
Yeah, none of those three processes are actually dangerous.
No.
Obviously, ethyl acetate is harmful in massive quantities.
Yeah.
But in the amount that's going to be
caffeine,
the trace. Yeah, exactly. in those trace amounts of ethyl acetate in that coffee is not harmful. It's not dangerous.
Yeah. It sounds like a scary chemical word, but like you said, it's just a byproduct of producing rum.
Yeah.
Fermentation.
The like friendly word that a lot of people like to use for it is the sugarcane process.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot better. It's not as scary as ethyl acetate. I feel like usually a chemical name that you don't really know what it is is intimidating. But so I was really surprised. You were really surprised to find that. At Mundo's, our coffee is Swiss water method.
Technically, it's not a Swiss water.
Oh, sorry, not Swiss water, but
it's the same type of process.
Yes.
Called a mountain water process from Mexico.
Swiss water is a trademarked company.
Yes.
So there are other companies that do the very similar water process. And that's what the Mexico is, and it's very good.
Very good. This is one of the better decafs we've carried in a long time. Like they've all been amazing, but this one's more standout, has more flavor than the last one, the Brazil.
Yeah, and it very much interests me because the Mexico we have it's very kind of raisiny, bready, and that's great.
Yeah, I feel like the one place where decaf has the opportunity to shine the most, the decaf needs to shine the most is espresso. When you're making filter coffee, you can have decaf and it can taste good, but when you make espresso, if that decaf's not just right, sometimes the balance of the acidity and sweetness is off and it's just got this funky taste, funky smell to it. That's just because it's brewed so concentrated and so strong that I'm excited to see these new processes and what they taste like on espresso.
Yeah, well, it makes me curious too. Like the same coffee that I've grown accustomed to, and I like the way it tastes as a Swiss water. I wonder how I would like the way it tastes as a ethyl acetate or something like that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting to me. And I imagine that based on the coffees, based on the profile you want, different processes of decaffeination are actually more preferable, right?
Sure.
Right, like maybe a Swiss water is really good with this Mexico, and maybe there is a brighter, more acidic coffee out there that would obviously do better with ethyl acetate.
I mean, similar to like roast profiles. If you've got a coffee that you've tasted, you cupped, and you know that you can highlight its acidity, you would want to maybe roast it hotter and faster to be able to get those brighter, juicier notes out of it. But something that's like a Brazil, maybe a Mexico, that has a very mellow, more chocolate nutty forward, you want to slow those down a little bit right during that Maillard reaction. It's very, very similar of like applying different characteristics to different coffees based on what they taste like.
Yeah. I think that this is a really exciting and interesting thing.
Yeah.
I think that decaf coffee has a lot of potential to be very good. I think that the main thing that's like really stopped me from drinking decaf coffee is just that I haven't found it to be that interesting.
Yes.
You know, because I really like these, these brighter, more acidic, interesting coffees.
Like at this point, I just kind of sacrifice my sleep a little bit when I drink coffee at night.
Exactly.
But I love tea at night, but it's just not the same as coffee. Something about that warmth of a cup of coffee and just the strength of it is so good. And I'm really excited for more amazing decafs to be more readily available.
Yeah. I normally try and not drink decaf or coffee this late. I feel like the only time I really have coffee in the evenings is when I'm over here.
Yeah.
Or my friend Zoran was out at our house the other day, and he was just like, "Can you make me an espresso?" It's at like 8 o'clock at night. I was like, "Sounds good. I'll do that." But yeah, for the most part, I feel like there's a lot of room for decaf, even amongst like coffee enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And yes, I am excited to see that because I think that that's a really good thing. And I don't remember what I was going to say.
I mean, just because you can't have caffeine doesn't mean you should be left out of all the enjoyment coffee has to offer, because it's not like so much about the caffeine. And obviously that's hard for me to say because I drink coffee every day, so take it away from me and see what happens. But like you have to fight me for it. Coffee is so good, just the taste alone. And so many people drink coffee just for the caffeine, but there's so much more to enjoy with the flavors and learning different types of coffee and just the community around it. Like it's amazing for better decafs to come around so that bring more people into the community.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say too is I think that from a roaster perspective, from like a coffee shop perspective, the main thing that is holding back actually getting really excellent decaf, really interesting decaf, is just the market for it, right? Like our Mexico, I think, is very good. Yeah. It's not very bright, right? It fills that profile of round, chocolatey, smooth, bready, right? Yep. And that's great. But if we were to get a super bright decaf like that, I feel like a lot of the people that like those coffees aren't going to get decaf. Yeah. And a lot of the decaf people don't want coffee that bright.
At that point, I feel like, and because decaf is going this way, it would be amazing to offer multiple options. Yeah. Like expand your single origin selection to to decaf as well, and
Yeah.
have decaf blend for those people who prefer coffees that are more chill and don't want to be overwhelmed by something too fruity. But it's amazing that potential is there.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't see a market for it now, but that could also very well be because the product hasn't been there. This decaf isn't there, so people who don't like coffee just resort to getting teas, just don't come in at all. It's amazing.
Yeah. So start buying more decaf.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that would be really cool, like to see more and more decaf options at shops and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Coffee is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I would really because I feel like when I have decaf coffee in the evening, I really like it in like a cappuccino. I feel like a cappuccino in the evening time is like super nice.
Something poetic about it.
And yeah, I feel like those bready. I like a fruitier cappuccino.
Sure.
And I feel like a lot of decafs that I've had they're not like that really juicy natural Ethiopian nature to them. They're very.
I think part of the reason is to do that is because obviously certain decaf processes take out more flavor, but also you've got these high quality coffees that are scoring very highly that people don't want to throw away processing them decaf. But if you can do that right and keep most of the flavor there, you can get some amazing coffees. Very, very fruit forward decafs, which I'm excited to, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this whole thing was super eye opening. We're super grateful to James Hoffman for putting that together.
Yeah.
It's an awesome opportunity.
Those videos are super educational, informative. I love watching them.
Yeah, his stuff is great.
Yeah.
But even the project is I don't know if I'll ever be able to do anything like that again.
Yeah.
Legitimately. Maybe 2 coffees, maybe 2 side by side, but not 4 different processes of the same exact coffee. That's crazy.
Love watching his videos, but being able to take part of that, be a part of something that's happening all across the world is amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah.
So we...
For the love of coffee.
Yeah. We hope that you guys are able to gain something from this. Maybe if you're, looking around at other roasters, you'll see some processes listed and maybe buy some of those. Maybe just start looking for the process of decaf when you're shopping for that.
Most roasters are very transparent about how their decaf's processed. You'll probably mostly find Swiss Water because it is very popular in the specialty coffee market, and they do an amazing job. But there are other processes out there.
I do see a lot of ethyl acetate. There's a lot of shops that do like to use that too.
Yeah.
But start paying attention to that because that has a huge impact on the way the coffee tastes.
Yeah.
Almost as much as the process that it has at the farm. Washed and
yeah.
natural, totally transforms the way that coffee is going to be.
Exactly.
So does that decaffeination process. It totally transforms the kind of characteristics that it's going to have in it. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
If it's past Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yep. And if it's past New Year, then we could still say Happy New Year.
I mean, you could be watching this
in 2026.
You could be watching this in 2028. That'd be crazy.
How many episodes will we have out by then?
5 billion and 7.
I think we're going to up our recording schedule then. if that's the case.
Well, we can just chop them up. We'll do half episodes. We'll record this, but we'll cut it just at a random spot in it, and
like
we'll
a
upload
cliffhanger.
it twice. Yeah.
Find out next time.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's do
that'd
that
be horrible.
for sure.
All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
New
Christmas.
Year. See you next time.
See ya.